Hi, welcome to second class of the Selenium. So in this course, I would like to teach how to identify web elements and a web page by using the web element properties. Okay. So now in this session, I would like to identify the elements by using the file bug and file path. So I will be discussing those things with the help of a seleniumIDE. So the same logic can be used for identifying the elements in WebDriver also. Okay, so now let us see that. So I already have installed the seleniumIDE. Okay, so now what I want to do is, so I want to log into the Gmail account by using the I will log into the Gmail account manually. The same test case will be recorded by seleniumIDE. Okay, so now I will explain how the seleniumIDE has identified those elements. Okay, so now let us see that. So first I am opening the seleniumIDE. So after that, if you want to record your manual test case in seleniumIDE, we have an option called the record. So here see this red button. So simply click on this red button. So now the seleniumIDE is in recording mode. So now I will log into the Gmail account manually. So go to Gmail account, www.gmail.com. I have navigated to Gmail website and I want to enter my username and password. So I have entered my username and I am entering my password and I click on sign in. Okay, so I have clicked on the sign in button. So now as the password is wrong, so the Gmail has rejected that and I was not able to log into the Gmail account. So now let us see this test case has been recorded by seleniumIDE. Now let us see that. See here. So this is the script generated by seleniumIDE for whatever the test case we have performed manually. Okay. So now this is the code generated by seleniumIDE, right? Now let us discuss briefly about these commands. The first command is this one. The first thing is this one. This is called the base URL. So base URL is nothing but the URL on which you want to perform the testing. Okay. Here, as soon as we clicked on this gmail.com link, so it will redirect that to accounts.google.com. So which is nothing but a base URL on which we are performing the testing. So the base URL will be recorded here. So this is called the base URL on which we want to perform the testing, right? So after that, what I want to do, so after that we should have to open that base URL. Okay, so in seleniumIDE we have a command called open. So the use of this open command is to navigate to the base URL. Okay, so here I will specify /. So this / simply refer to this base URL. So whenever you say open in the target field, if you give /, that will be referring this base URL. So now this command will simply navigate to Gmail website, that is your base URL. Okay, and let's say I want to insert some base URL. I want to insert some sub URL to your base URL. Then I will specify here like this apps. Then now the total URL becomes this one. So now the total URL would be this one, apps. Okay, so whatever the sub URL you want to mention, that should be specified after this /. So whatever the URL we have specified after this /, that will be appended with this URL. Now let us run this. See here. So whatever the sub URL we have specified here, that sub URL will be added to your base URL and the total URL will be typed in the browser. See here, we have this accounts.google.com as the base URL and /, apps is our sub URL. Okay, so the both are appended and it is navigating to that google.com apps. Okay, so if you want to enter any sub URL, that should be mentioned after this /. Okay, so now after that, so let us discuss the commands. Type command. So this type command is a command which is used to enter value to a particular field. So after navigating the Gmail website, what we have to do? we have to enter the username. Okay, so you are a human. Since we are a human, we know that this is the email field and this is the password field and this is the sign in button. We know that we should have to enter the value into this email field and we have to enter the value into the password field, and we know that we should click on the sign in button, right? But the Selenium does not know all those things. We have to provide some means for the Selenium program to identify those fields and enter the value. Okay, so here type is a command, okay, which is used to specify the Selenium ID should have to enter some value. Okay, so and whatever the value you want to enter, that value should be specified in the value field. Okay, so type is a command which is used to enter some value, and whatever the value you want to enter, that should be specified under the value field. Okay, into which field we have to enter, that could be specified with the help of this target command. Okay, now before discussing that, let us discuss about the web elements on a page. So each and everything on a web page is considered as a web element. Okay, now this Google, this image is a web element, this text is a web element, and this input field is a web element, this password field is a web element, this sign in button is a web element, this link, each and everything on a web page is considered as a web element. Okay, for each and every web element you will be having some properties which are called the web element properties. Okay, so if you want to identify those web elements, we have to use those properties. So you can identify the web elements based on the properties of those web elements. Okay, so now let us see how to identify those web elements. So if you go to the Selenium ID, here this target, here we have ID is equal to emails. Here ID is nothing but the property of the field or web element. Okay, so the Selenium is identifying the field into which it has to enter the email address based on this property. Here ID is a property of the web element, so it simply identify a web element whose property ID is email and enter the value into this that field. So this value will be entered into that field. Okay, so now let us see how to identify web element properties. Okay, so if you want to identify the web element properties, we have to make use of a tool called the Firebug. Okay, so now let us see how to download the Firebug. So go to Google and type download Firebug. So and click on this Firebug add-ons for Firefox. And see here, so we got an option here, add to Firefox. Click on add to Firefox and click on allow. So it will add the Firebug to your Firefox browser. Yeah, so it is asking install now, so click on install now. So it is saying that the Firebug has been installed successfully. Okay, so now the Firebug software has been installed successfully on my Firefox browser. So if you want to check that whether the Firebug has installed or not, so you can check from here. So if you get this icon, that means the Firebug has been installed successfully on your Firefox browser. Now let us see how to identify or how to make use of this Firebug to identify the properties of a web elements. Okay, so now my intention is enter the value into my email field. Okay, so as we discussed, so first now let us click on this Firebug icon. So now the Firebug has been opened. Okay, so click on this arrow mark and highlight the element. So highlight the element for which you want. So I think I need to restart the browser because we already installed this Firebug. We have installed the Firebug, so we should restart the Firefox again. Okay, so now let me save this test case. So I want to save this test case. So gmail.html, I am saving this test case. So test case has been saved. I am closing this and I want to restart the browser. So let me restart this Firefox browser. Okay, so now again navigate to gmail.com. So I am clicking on the Firebug. So now I want to open the Firebug. So click on this Firebug icon. So the Firebug has been opened up. So click on this arrow mark and highlight the field for which you want to identify the properties. See here. So for the so it is highlighting the properties of that email field. So these are the properties of the email field. So now let us open the seleniumIDE and see the code. So file, open. So I want to open the test case which I have saved. So Gmail. Click on open. See here. So this is the code generated by seleniumIDE when we record the test case. Okay. So here we have type, this target ID is equal to email and value is manual testing.msr, right? So now let us see properties of this email field. See here. So these are the properties of this email field. We have here input is equal to email, input ID is equal to email, class is empty, type email, and we have name email. Okay. So these are the properties of a web element. These are the properties of the web element email field. Okay. So generally we'll have the following properties for the email field. Any web element will be having ID. So let me make it larger. So I'm specifying the size as a 12. Okay. So basically we'll have ID, name, class, xpath and CSS. Okay. Basically for any web element we will be having any of these properties. So I'm not so it is not that you will have all the properties. Okay, you can have any of these properties, any one of these properties or all of the properties you can have. Okay, so you can have ID or name or class, xpath and CSS. So these are the properties you can have for a particular web element. Okay, so you can identify a web element based on the ID or name or class or xpath or CSS. You can use make use of any of these properties to identify a web element. Okay, and also make sure that, so let's say you have all these properties, then ID is the highest priority. Always ID is the highest priority. After that name. If you don't have name, go for if you don't have ID, go for name. If you don't have name, go for class. If you don't have class, go for xpath. If you don't have xpath, go for CSS. This is the order of prioritization of the using the properties of a web element. Okay. So now go to your email field. So for the email field we have these properties. We have ID is equal to email, class is empty, and we have name is equal to email. Okay. So as we have ID here, always ID is the highest priority. So I am proceeding by using the ID. Go here and go to the seleniumIDE. See here, it is saying that type ID is equal to email and manual value is manual testing.msr. So the meaning of this entire statement is type the value manual testing.msr into the field whose ID is email. Okay, which the field has identified here based on the property ID equal to email. Okay. So now let's say you want to use name. Okay, then let us see what is the value we have for the name here. In the Firebug for the field name, for the field email, we have a property name is equal to email. So in this case, instead of ID we can also use name. So if you use name, simply replace ID with name. Okay, name is equal to email. Okay. So now let us see for the password field. So the properties of for the password fields are again ID we have and we have name. Okay, and also we have only, we have only those two properties. Okay, here the seleniumIDE has used the ID. Okay, ID is called password. So the meaning of this statement is identify the field whose ID is called password and enter the value, this one. Okay, India $$12341. Okay, so this is the password. Okay, so after that we have to click on sign in button. So let us find the properties of this sign in button. So for the sign in button we have ID again. So here we have used that ID. So ID, so if you want to click on a button, we have to use a click button. Okay, 1 minute. So this is the way how we have to identify the web elements based on the properties of a web element. Okay, so now let us see how to use the xpath. So if you want to find out the xpath, again we have to use a tool called the filepath. Okay, now let us see how to install the filepath. So filepath also similar to that of filepath, which is a plugin for Firefox browsers. So go to Google. So go to Google and type download Firefox. So then again it will show up the results in such a way that go to Google and type download Firefox, then you will get the first option. So click on this one, and so here you will get the Firefox with the add to Firefox. Click on add to Firefox. So click on allow. Then it will start downloading the Firefox and click on install now. So this will install the Firefox on Firefox browser and click on the start now. So the Firefox has been installed successfully. Okay, so now again I will go to the gmail.com. okay, so I have navigated to the Gmail website. So click on this Firefox icon. So it will open up the Firefox, and here you will get this Firefox option. Okay, so if the Firefox has been successfully installed, then you will get this Firefox to your Firefox. Okay, so now let us see how to find the xpath. So I want to open this test case. Open the Gmail test case. Click on open. So the test case has been opened. So now let us find the xpath. So click on this arrow mark and highlight this email page and see here. So this is the xpath which we got here. Okay, so this is called the xpath of this email field. Okay, and make sure that here the dot should be excluded. Okay, so we have to consider all the part except this dot. Excluding this dot, we have to use the rest of the value as the xpath. Okay, so this is the xpath for the email field. So go here and in the this IDE, instead of IDE, give xpath equal to whatever the xpath we got from the Firefox. Okay, xpath equal to this one. So this is the xpath. Similarly, for each and every field, you will be having the xpath. For the password field, we have this the xpath. Similarly, for sign in button, so this is the xpath. Okay. So in this way, by using the Firefox, we can calculate the xpath of a particular web element. Okay. So these are the different type of properties by which we can identify the properties of a web element. So we can identify the web element. So these are the 5 properties by using which you can identify the web element. So we can use ID, name, class, xpath, and CSS. Okay. So we can identify the ID, name, class and CSS by using the Firefox. And if you want to identify the xpath, we should have to make use of the Firefox. Okay, so this is how to identify the web element based on the properties. Okay, so in the next class I will be giving an example how to imply these things into Selenium WebDriver. So I will be letting you know a sample Gmail login program, so which automate the Gmail login program, so with the help of these web elements. Okay, thank you. So we'll meet in the next session.